Welcome to the Dying Light Any% speedrunning guide. In this short video, I will show you how to configure your game to be able to complete it as fast as possible. So let's start. First of all, before you even boot the game, change your in-game language to French. You can do it in Steam options. Why we change it to French? Because French voice lines are the shortest ones, so you will be able to hit checkpoints much faster than in any other language, which is we want to have in a speedrun. So change your language, and if you just switch your settings, you will notice that your text language is also changed now. If you don't want to learn how to play this game in French, you can actually slightly modify game files to have any text language as you want. It is allowed by leaderboard rules, and you can find a guide how to do it in speedrun.com Dying Light section under the guides tab. There is a pretty easy and straightforward guide, so I won't cover how to do it. Just for the sake of the guide, I changed my text language to English so everybody can understand what's happening on the screen while having French voice lines. So let's jump into the options. Let's start with game options. One particularly interesting option here is enable hints. You want to have it disabled because otherwise game will show you different pop-ups which will disrupt your gameplay, and they have to be closed by pressing escape or spacebar or whatever keybind is. Anyway, it just breaks your momentums and slows you down, so you don't want to have it. There's actually one hint that cannot be disabled that way. It's right at the start of the game in tutorial, but there is nothing you can do about it. We just live with it and close it by pressing escape manually. Every other hint is disabled this way. For the rest of the options, it's completely up for your preference. Nothing actually influences the speedrun, so you might want just to have some amount of sound so mods can verify your run for being spliced, but other than that, everything is completely irrelevant for a speedrun. Next, in controls settings, one particularly interesting option is toggle crouch. It works completely different in its toggled on or off state, and it's completely broken in this game. So if you want to keep sliding, you want to have it enabled. If you don't need slide skill in a speedrun, you disable it. In any percent with current strats, we are not using sliding skills, so I would recommend you turning off the toggle crouch setting, because it will also allow you to crouch while sprinting, which is useful in some of the situations in this game. With toggle crouch enabled, you are not able to crouch while sprinting, which slightly slows you down in a couple of places. So for any percent, just disable it. Every other keybind is up to you. It doesn't even matter what you set here, just so you are comfortable with your keybinds. Buggy is not used in any percent, so we skip it. In co-op section, I would recommend you to change keybind for chat, because by default it's bounded to enter, and you mash enter pretty much a lot in the speedrun, so just switch it to something far away that you can never press by accident, because you don't want to open a chat window and just stay AFK while closing it back. In other tab, just memorize what you have for inventory menu, quest log, skill menu, and player menu. Default keybinds are perfectly fine, but I just prefer to change them to something that I can press with my left hand, so I switch them to keys from F1 through F8, F4. That way I can press all the menus with just my left hand and keep my right hand always on the mouse. That's basically it about this section. Quick selection is completely up to you, up to your preferences. I prefer to have select equipment keybinds because it allows you to perform a slightly different setup for one of the glitches, which is more difficult with wheel selection. However, in any percent is generally not used, so you can have whatever you want in this section. You can assign every keybind, you have nothing assigned at all, it's completely fine. Inventory, I keep everything by default. because it's really relevant in a speedrun. You can have whatever is comfortable for you. Actions, same thing. Whatever is comfortable for your hands, use it. It doesn't even matter in a speedrun. Next, online options. There's basically one option which is must have. It's a game type, set it to single player, so you won't get any pop-ups about multiplayer game, and also you won't be accidentally raided by somebody else, which is obviously disallowed in a solo speedrun. Also, during events you have one more option called participate in community events. If that's the case, disable it, because events usually provide some sort of influence to the game world. You can have the increased experience gain, you can have increased damage from some weapon type, or in-game world can have additional monsters which can give you advantage or disadvantage. So you just disable it altogether to don't have any third-party influence on a speedrun. Video settings are completely up to you. Whatever your PC is able to squeeze. It was previously required to have steady 60 FPS in a speedrun. Nowadays the requirement is dropped, so you can have whatever settings you want. I just prefer to have everything in lowest possible settings, just to have high and stable FPS. Eye tracking is obviously not related to the speedrun, so you can roll with whatever settings you have. So that's it about options. In next video we'll start covering basic movement and tricks which will be used in a speedrun. So see you there.